Alright, I just want to talk about how 50 Cent was making fun of the autistic kid supposedly at the airport. It actually ties into the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. So, also the death of Tupac's mother and some other things. So, anyway, 50 Cent, I'm not going to show the video, but you can look it up. There's a video of him assuming that some autistic kid that worked at the airport was high on marijuana, and he was kind of heckling him or whatever, and it got made into a big old deal. So, anyway, in Gematria, 50 Cent equals 108, just like Golden State Warriors. The kid that he was making fun of, his name was Andrew Farrell, which equals 69 in Gematria, just like Cleveland Cavaliers. The article actually had this name written two different ways as well, and I'll show you the other one in a second here. But interesting too, look at the picture they give you. 50 Cent wearing a Chicago Bulls hat. Talked about how this whole season is coded to the 1996 Chicago Bulls who won the 72 games. He says he's going to donate 100 grand to Autism Speaks. Autism Speaks equals 154 in Gematria. Remember, the NBA Finals begin on the 154th day of this year. If you write out $100,000 in Gematria, it equals 111, just like if you write out the NBA Finals. So like I said, they spell the kid's name different here. They spell it Farrell instead of Fe. Just interesting. That way, it equals 65. I've mentioned how a lot of this connects back to Philadelphia. Just tons and tons of articles and events all seem to be going back to Philadelphia. Philadelphia, the small way equals 65. Also, the word cent equals 15, so 50 cent, a lot like 50 plus 15 equals 65. Even also, they replace the A with an E or the E with an A, depending on how you look at it. A is the first letter, E is the fifth letter, so it's either the 15 or the 51. That just sticks out for the fact that, I've been mentioning this a whole lot, even in regards to Philadelphia. Philadelphia equals 65 the small way, 101 the big way. 101 years ago was 1915, and 65 years ago was 1951. So, just the mirrors or whatever. I also said that Donald Trump is 15 years, 51 days older than Obama. Pope Francis was 15 years old in 1951. Queen Victoria, who was the previous longest reigning British English monarch of all time, before Queen Elizabeth surpassed her on 9/9 of 2015. Anyway, she died 51 years, 15 days before Queen Elizabeth became the Queen on February 6, 1952. Also, how does it make that much sense? So, back in February, we got this article here about how 50 Cent was broke, and he was claiming bankruptcy, and then he wrote broke out in money. And then the judge called him in or whatever, supposedly, and he said that this was fake money and all just deployed to make more money or something. I mean, just interesting, And then that he can donate $100,000, but he's supposedly bankrupt and broke, Just like Kanye West asking for money right around the same time. I think it was the first day of Lupercalia or something like that. I remember Kanye West came out and said he was $53 million in debt. Anyway, broke equals 51 in Gematria. Kanye West equals 51 in Gematria. And it was Kanye West came out with that right before he dropped his album called The Life of Pablo. The Life of Pablo just so happens to equal 69, just like Cleveland Cavaliers, just like Back to Back, just like World War III. Lots of 69 stuff. Tupac's mother died at the age of 69, David Bowie. I mean, just tons of 69 stuff this year. Even this year in November, it will be the 69th anniversary of Israel being recognized. Anyway, what's also really sticks out to me in regards to Tupac and whatnot 50 Cent actually got shot, but he actually lived. But it was on April 24th, 424. Once again, interesting because it was the 115th day of the year. Steph Curry hurt his knee on April 24th as well. And I'll talk more about that here in a second. But the guy who supposedly shot him was Daryl Hamo Baum, who just so happened to be Mike Tyson's former bodyguard, or it says close friend and bodyguard, so it was his bodyguard at the time. But what's really sticks out is that Tupac got shot right after attending the Mike Tyson fight. So just interesting, it ties into Mike Tyson even. Anyway, in regards to the 115, since this was the 115th day of the year because of 2000 being a leap year, this year, in this season, the Warriors' first loss came to the Milwaukee Bucks 1 month and 15 days into the season. Then they lost to Portland on the 115th day of the season on February 19th. Then Steph Curry hurt his knee on the 115th day of 2016. Just kind of interesting, I guess. Also, 50 Cent was shot 9 times with a 9mm handgun. That just really sticks out for the fact that Abraham Lincoln got shot and died 9 hours and 9 minutes later. Obama sang Amazing Grace at Clementa Pinckney's funeral 9 days after 9 people were shot. And then 9 months and 9 days later was 4/4 of 2016. The reason that 4/4 is so interesting is because the first president to die in office was the 9th president, and he died on 4/4, just like Martin Luther King Jr. Lots of political deaths on 4/4, or in regards to the number 44. But anyway, so he was the 9th president to die in office. The next president to die in office will be the 9th president to die in office, like the 99. Obama is also the 44th president, and he's 9 presidents after JFK, who was the last president to die in office. Golden State Warriors in Gematria even equals 99. So super interesting, I guess, that 50 Cent was shot 9 times with a 9mm. Also, the guy who supposedly shot him is nicknamed Hamo. In Jewish Gematria equals 168. Just like Cleveland Cavaliers, just like Queen Elizabeth II, just like Beyonce Knowles. Talked about her with the Black Panther stuff. Also, the Kanye West stuff. And Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift also equals 168. Also interesting, Hamo in simple Gematria equals 64. I've talked a whole lot about the 64 stuff in regards to civil rights. I'll just pull it up really quick here. So, Barack Obama and Abraham Lincoln, the only presidents politically out of Illinois. So, and then Abraham Lincoln assassinated. But a lot of people don't know that there was an assassination attempt on JFK in Chicago that was 3 weeks before his actual assassination in Dallas. But JFK died at the age of 46. He died in Dallas, Texas. That equals 46. Chicago also equals 46. His wife Jackie died at the age of 64. The mirrors here. He was replaced by Lyndon B. Johnson, who equals 64 Gematria. Also died at the age of 64. When he was in office, the 1964 Civil Rights Act was passed. Civil rights equals 64. MLK Jr. equals 64. Barack Hussein Obama equals 64. Barry equals 64. 44th equals 64. Joe Biden equals 64. Stephen Curry equals 64. Also in regards to all this Prince stuff that I've been talking about and the royalty, Queen Elizabeth just celebrated her 64th anniversary of being the queen on 2/6 this year. We also had the 64th Miss Universe pageant where Steve Harvey messed up the crown. And I talked about how I think it's something to do with the shift in power, like Elizabeth to Charles. Interesting, his wife is Princess Camilla, who equals 64 as well. Anyway, you get the point of the 64. There's just lots of 64 around, these civil rights and also assassinated presidents and whatnot. But anyway, the guy Homo, his real name is Daryl Baum, which equals 115. And he supposedly shot 50 Cent on the 115th day of the year. So, I mean, how ridiculous. 50 Cent's real name is Curtis Jackson. That equals 46. Also, the big way, 163. Just like Barack Hussein Obama, the big way. Obama assassinated. Make America Great Again. Paul Davis Ryan, who would become president if Biden and Obama were both assassinated or died or whatever. Golden State Warriors repeat champions equals 163. I thought was interesting. But also Grover Cleveland equals 116. And he's the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. So, who knows? Also talked a lot about the train derailments and how they're tied into it. Train derailment 163. If you write out 163, it equals 108. Just like Golden State Warriors, just like 50 Cent. So like I said, doesn't it seem a little bit strange we get the death of Tupac's mother, age 69. Tupac gets murdered after the Mike Tyson's fight. This guy was Mike Tyson's bodyguard and friend. Also, 50 Cent was in the movie called The Prince that came out in 2014. It also had like Bruce Willis, so it must have been a pretty big movie. I've never seen it. Just super interesting. There's been so much royalty and whatnot since Prince died on Queen Elizabeth's 90th birthday. 50 Cent in a movie called The Prince. Also, 50 Cent supposedly is going to be releasing this new album. It's been pushed back a whole bunch of times, so it's supposedly supposed to release August 18th now. But when you're reading through in here, it says, later Interscope announced that the album would be in stores on November 13th, 2012. 50 Cent did an interview while he was in France promoting his headphones of his own company SMS Audio, confirming the album was pushed back to February 26, 2013. So just kind of interesting, 11/13 of 2015, but just the date in general, 11/13 is the date of the Paris attacks. And then 50 Cent actually pushed the album back while he was in France. I don't know, it just really sticks out. I mean, the odds of him being in France when he pushes the album back, that's supposed to come out on November 13th. And with this kid that he supposedly made fun of, his name is Andrew Farrell. Just reminded me a lot of Will Ferrell. And I had just made a post because I went back and re-looked at when LeBron James dressed up as Prince for Halloween. And I think I talked about it, but I never put it together in my head. I've talked about how Prince, there's something to do with Prince's death and how it connects to a lot of these a moon theme, and also the blood moons and whatnot, the tetrad and all that. Anyway, his teammate Kevin Love here just so happened to be Jackie Moon, the guy Will Ferrell plays in the movie Semi-Pro or Semi-Pro. So just interesting, he's Jackie Moon, he is Prince. I know there's a total moon connection. Anyway, well, this picture, this was on Kevin Love's Twitter too, and he put up the little caption here, "Only want to see you" equals 69. Just like Kevin Love's full name in Gematria, just like Cleveland Cavaliers, just like back-to-back. This little thing right here, it says, "As eternity with the James family." Interesting, equals 131, like championship, like Prince Charles. And also on this one, it says, "Better than the real thing." That equals 105, just like Blood Moon. Also, the movie's in Flint, Michigan, or it takes place in Flint, Michigan. We just got all these stories with the bad water. This movie came out on February 19th. Back-to-back championships equals 219. Even 92 minutes long. Warriors win back-to-back championships equals 92. There's even the part where Will Ferrell fights the bear in the movie. There's just been lots of bear symbolism this year, especially in regards to the Super Bowl that was coded to the 1985 Bears in the movie The Revenant. Anyway, Jackie Moon fights Dewey the Bear in this movie Semi-Pro. Dewey the Bear equals 105 in Gematria. In real life, the bear's name is Rocky, and he actually killed a guy on 4/22/2008. Just interesting, it's only one day off of, the day that Prince died and Queen Elizabeth's birthday. Also, the guy that he bit, the reason that it really stuck out was Stefan Miller. So I just think of Stephen Curry, Stefan Miller. Who knows, but just interesting, the guy that he killed was Stefan. Also in Jewish gematria, bear equals 88, just like purple, just like Trump, just like Obama out. I made a whole video on all these 88 connections and the color purple and whatnot. There's a whole bunch of other 88s that I never put in there. Just seems pretty significant, and I'm assuming that's why there's been so much bear symbolism this year. So here's a picture of the whole team. In the article, they don't really mention that many people. They mention J.R. Smith being the baby, and LeBron James being Prince, and Kevin Love being Jackie Moon. And then they do say that Kyrie Irving is a Jedi, which you can obviously tell he's a Jedi. Jedi in Jewish gematria equals 618, a number I've talked about being connected to the death of Nancy Reagan and also Obama's visit to Cuba and Pope Francis's visit to Cuba, because Pope Francis went to Cuba on 9/19, and then Obama went, which is the 262nd day of the year, then Obama went 26 weeks, 2 days later. If you write out Nancy Reagan in gematria, it equals 103, 618, 618. And if you write out 618, it equals 199, and also 919, a lot like the date, September 19th. September 19th also leaves 103 days left in the year. Nancy Reagan equals 103. Which is also interesting, it equals Jedi equals 168 then. Just like Cleveland Cavaliers, so he's a Jedi. What I'm trying to figure out is who Anderson Varejao is, because he's now a Golden State Warrior. I should know it, I can't place my finger on it or what, I don't know exactly what he's supposed to be, but interesting if I figure out what he's supposed to be. Maybe I'm assuming it might have something to do with who might win or just more of this royalty symbolism. But yeah, gonna leave it at that, Just wanted to point out that this 50 Cent story was, and it's probably connected to other things. I just noticed that it's connected to the Golden State Warriors and also the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I've talked about are going to be in back-to-back championships since the All-Star Week. Actually, before the All-Star Week, I even mentioned it, but just interesting that the whole 50 Cent story actually has numbers that connect to both of them two teams. Just wanted to put it out there. Have a good one.